Qaroon. He's related to Musa alayhi salam. So he's from Bani Israel. Some even call him a cousin or a distant relative of Musa alayhi salam. When the Israelites are living under captivity, meaning the children of Israel are slaves of the Egyptian empire, of the Pharaoh, the Israelites were a very large population, and they were the Muslims of that time, and they lived in these ghettos, right? They were kept in these camps, so they could only stay there where the workers were kept as slaves. And the only time they got out is to do work on the big city, and then they'd go back into their encampments. Well, because their population was so big, and it was constantly getting bigger, they were having children, there was a fear that they might start uniting and maybe planning a revolt against their masters. Because how long can you keep people slaves? Eventually they're going to organize, fight for their own freedom. So one of the ways the Pharaoh wanted to keep them under control is he had some people within the Israelites that were from that community, but he basically paid them off to spy on their own people. Everybody in the Israelites is a slave. Nobody's making any money, but Qaroon apparently has a lot of treasure. إِنَّ قَارُونَ كَانَ مِنْ قَوْمِ مُوسَى فَبَغَى عَلَيْهِمْ. The Qur'an introduces him as, no doubt, Qaroon was from the nation, the people of Musa, meaning he was one of the slaves among the Israelites. But he was a criminal against them. The point of that is, he was actually spying for the government of the Pharaoh. And he was informing who's doing what, to keep tabs from the inside. Nowadays, people have like security cameras. Some people act as security cameras. And there are lots of oppressive regimes in the world today that have that. They have people planted to keep track. The Muslim community is no different, especially in the United States, other parts of the world. There are people that are planted in masajid and things like that to keep an eye on us and whatever, because they're suspicious of us. There's one time I remember, many years ago, this was a couple of years after 9/11, I was in a masjid in New York. We were making salah, and this guy next to me, he made ruku', and his government ID fell out of his pocket. It was one of the authorities' ID. And when we went to sajda, I'm sorry, my peripheral vision, I can't help it. I messed up my salah because I was like, oh, 3 letters. But by the time we get up from sajda, the ID is gone back in the pocket somehow. So the sajda was a good maneuver for him to... Then after the salah was done, he looked at me and he said, Assalamu alaikum, brother, but I didn't say anything about you yet. So there is such a thing as people that work for another entity and they have to be planted to keep tabs or whatever. I don't want you to be paranoid. We have nothing to hide. We have absolutely nothing to hide. So it's fine. Qaroon's role was to do this, and the government paid him good money to do it. The Pharaoh paid him good money to do it. And as a result of that, everybody lives in the ghetto and he's got a mansion. And nobody's got even like clothes to wear, and he's got horses and got servants and an entourage, and he's walking through this busted old neighborhood and people are like, whoa, look at him. Look at everything he's got. He's so rich. And so he sticks out like a sore thumb. In Texas, you have this phenomenon. Other places where I used to live in New York, we don't have this phenomenon. In Texas, you sometimes have old neighborhoods with old dilapidated homes. Right? And somebody decides he's going to demolish a home and build like a monster in the middle. And so you got these homes that are worth like $80,000, and all of a sudden a $500,000, $700,000 mansion in the middle of that, and it sticks out like a sore thumb. Right? That's basically what Qaroon was. But he made a lot of that wealth because he was selling out his own people. فَبَغَى عَلَيْهِمْ. Then Allah describes he made so much money that he had to hire servants because he had multiple vaults. He didn't just have one safe, he had vaults. And the vaults had such big doors that he had to hire strong men to carry the log that used to serve as the lock for the vault, to carry it and throw it over so he can open the vault so he can see his treasure. لَتَنُوءُ الْعُصْبَةِ عُصْبَةٍ أُولِي الْقُوَّةِ. A group that was mighty would be exhausted just opening his vault. That's what the Qur'an describes.